Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. It's a slow morning here at the campsite. I thought it would be a good time to talk to you about this 48 quart fridge freezer combo by Newair. Now this was the product that I decided to go with, so I'm gonna review this, but I make this channel for people, not for companies, so I'm not just gonna sling a sales pitch at you. I wanna talk about why I like this unit so much, but there was a couple different options when I was on the market. I'm gonna talk about those as well so that you can get the best unit for your needs. Now there's a lot to go over today, so let's get into this. For starters, there's very few products that make their way to the top 3 lists of almost all outdoor enthusiasts like a DC compressor fridge. People who do what we love to do, RVs, overlanding, van conversions, you're gonna find a unit like this making its way to their must-have items almost across the board. Now this is the case for me. Many of you know that this is actually the second refrigerator I have. I bring 2 refrigerators with me. Now these things are expensive, but there's a lot of reasons why we view these as such a valuable investment. With a dual chamber unit like this, you have a refrigerator and you also have a freezer. With the digital controls on the side, you can change the temperature of these independently. You can make them both refrigerators, you can make them both freezers, or even switch around, the bigger section being the freezer. There's a lot of versatility here. It's gonna put you light years ahead of an ice chest style cooler. At 48 quarts, you're also gonna get 2 to 3 times the amount of storage. Remember how much space we fill up with ice with those traditional style coolers. So when this thing is full, it's even lighter and stores more food than a 48 quart ice chest that you have to restock every few days. Now, the ability to do away with ice or minimize the amount of ice that we're using is also gonna completely change our outdoor experience. Honestly, it's very difficult for me to sum up how nice it is to say goodbye to ice, or at least minimize the amount of ice that you have to deal with. With my setup in these remote campsites, I was making 40, 50-minute round trips every couple days to get ice. If I waited for a 3rd day, I'm rifling around through ice water, finding a random stick of butter, like a rogue burger patty that drifted out of the box. The labels are peeled off everything. It's non-ideal to say the least. If you tally up the amount of money you spend on gas and ice to keep your food cold, it is realistic to assume a unit like this can pay for itself. Now there's a couple other convenience benefits. This is a little paper takeout tray. I stopped to get lunch the other day. Something like this is fine to store in this unit. I can stack things on it. The trays are really nice. The ability to have this feature at camp is a complete game changer. Being that I'm filming by myself today, I'm gonna have to crop some photos in for close-ups, but this is a really nice unit. Now, most of them are coming this way. Real rugged outside. It's got a latch that locks the lid down. There's a rubber gasket that goes around the side. This is a nice heavy-duty handle. I saw some other reviews online where people were standing on this thing and pulling each other around. I'm not gonna abuse my equipment today, but it was nice to know that it's capable of that. There's really good wheels on the side, a handle on the back, and they also deck this thing out with little trinkets. There's a bottle opener on the side, cup holders on the top. When you open this up, they give you a little cutting board that comes out of the top here on this Newair unit. This is really nice. It fits right on the top. It's good for cheese and fruit platters and stuff. It's really easy to clean. I really like this unit. Now, there is 2 lights when you open the lid that illuminate the inside of the cooler. So once the sun goes down, this is a pretty cool feature. You don't need your headlamp to rifle around for a midnight snack. Now this lid comes right off. So this is easy to clean, but look at how simple it is to reverse this around. Now this feature, when I put this in the back of the Jeep or like a Subaru, you can go to the grocery store, fill it up. When you hit the road, you reverse the lid around so that you can access it from the back seat of the car, or the back seat of my truck. It's a really handy feature. I feel like they have thought of everything. So at this point in time, I'm going to show you a couple different options on the market and talk about why I zeroed in on this one. I'm hoping that can help some people out. So I paid $550 for this refrigerator. For me, that's money well spent, but it is a major investment. So I contacted the company when I knew I was going to make this video, and they offered me a little bit of a promo code to share with you guys. I'll include that in my video description so you can get this unit for less money than I paid for it. Using that link will also support the channel, and I really appreciate that. If you don't want to go that option, that's fine. You can contact me. I'll still share a promo code with you, and I'll also include the Amazon link if that's how you prefer to spend your money. That's perfectly fine. I am going to share with you some of the runners-up and the different decisions that I had to make when I finally settled on this unit, because I think that'll help a lot of people out as well. When I make investments like this, I'm usually a buy once, cry once type of person. I start looking for the nicest piece of equipment that's out there. Every once in a while, I take a chance on buying once, crying 0 times. And that's what I did with this unit. If you look at the red arcs, they cost a couple $1,000s. They look like a tank, but I couldn't quite justify that kind of money for what I was looking for. Now the Domestics have a long reputation. Those are excellent as well. When you get the fridge freezer combo of this size, it's well over $1,000. Even the ice codos cost over $1,000 when you're looking for this kind of technology. What separates those coolers from this one, because I do think this is a similar build quality to the Dometic and the ice co, but those units have Danfoss compressors. If you're new to this, in about 1992, a Danish company invented a DC compressor that was efficient, it was tough, you could go off-roading with it, it was whisper quiet, and it broke the mold. Everyone else was using absorption fridges and these ammonia refrigerators that were really lousy. So for the last 30 years, Danfoss, they were bought by C-Cop, but that style of compressor, if you're way into refrigerators, is considered the best of the best. In my experience, in those last 30 years, the gap really isn't that big anymore. This unit has an LG compressor. It's basically a copycat of those units. LG is a major company. They make the refrigerators you buy for home, your washing machines, dryers. I'm sure you've heard of that company. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, and they have an excellent warranty and serviceability of the compressors that they're selling. I tested this thing relentlessly, and I don't see any major difference between the performance of that C-Cop Danfoss and this style of LG compressor. If there was a major difference, I would have ponied up the money. So what it comes down to is the unknown. I have total confidence that this will last just as long as a $1,400 Dometic. If it doesn't, I promise I'll share that information with you. But I felt spending $550 or even less for you was a much better investment for me than dropping $1,200, $1,300. But I did spend more money than some of the very close options that are on the market. That's worth talking about as well. So when we're purchasing outdoor gear, there's a tip that I can share with you that has saved me a lot of money. Most of this stuff nowadays is made in China. They have a very common business model. There'll be factories that make a product, and several different distributors will buy that same product. When you go to buy a Blue Eddy, you can get a Max Oak distributed Blue Eddy, a Rich Solar. There's a couple different brands selling the exact same power station, and they don't charge the same amount of money. I found the same thing with some Renogy panels and HSQT panels. The HSQT is the exact same panel for less money. You just have to be able to shop around. So when I was looking for this unit, surprise, surprise, there's 4 different brandings of the exact same cooler setup. But when I looked a little bit more closely, they were using a different compressor. So they have the exact layout. It's literally identical. It's molded in the same place. But when you read the owner's manual, this Newair is including an LG compressor. The other brand said very powerful compressor, very efficient compressor. It was a no-name brand. So I paid $40 or $50 more than some of the other distributors that have the exact same shell, but knowing that this one had a quality, spec'd out compressor made it worth me spending, I think it was $40 more to go this route. However, it wasn't worth me spending $600 or $700 to go up to the Danfoss compressor. So that was my decision. You spend your money however you want, but do be aware of that phenomenon. So what I'll do now, for the people that are just super nerds like I am, I'm gonna share all of my power consumption data. I looked at DC, AC, a bunch of different scenarios. That's gonna be really valuable for some people. It's not gonna be valuable for everyone. So if you're signing off, I appreciate you watching today. If you're in the market for this product, using the link in the description really supports the channel. For those of you who are interested in my groundbreaking research on this product, stay tuned and I'll share that stuff with you now. Okay, folks, for me, this is the most important stuff, but I know it's not for everyone, so I put this at the last section of the video. I'm also going to talk really fast to push through the data that I think some people want to know. I used a little infrared thermometer and I used a probe thermometer and found 60 degrees Fahrenheit and 36 degrees Fahrenheit were the best temperatures to keep the food frozen, safely refrigerated, and have the best efficiency when running off grid. If you're in a warmer climate or a colder climate, those numbers might be skewed, but that would be a good starting point for you. I used this little power analyzer, this watt meter on the DC side, and a little kilowatt unit on the AC side, and ran a bunch of tests before I took this thing out on the road with me. The AC block leads to the best performance. It gives it a higher voltage, and it works very, very well. It's not as efficient this way. So I want to use this when I have shore power. It plugs in with a regular standard 110 outlet. I pre-chill my unit before I leave home with this AC block. The DC connection naturally runs more efficiently. There's no conversion, inversion if you're running with a power station, so always use the DC block when you can, or the DC plug when you can. As far as my efficiency numbers, they might surprise you. If you leave the door open in a heated room, this unit will consume 1,000 watts a day, a kilowatt a day, 1,000 watt hours. That's with the temperatures that I gave you in a warm climate on eco mode. I use max mode when I'm on the AC block charger, and I use eco mode when I'm off grid. Even when I'm using the DC charger in my tow vehicle, I'll put it on max mode when the alternator's running. It's great when you're on a road trip. It works better that way. As far as the ways I found to save power, in a normal scenario, I used 500 watt hours a day if I was irresponsible. I deliberately put hot food in here. I opened it up a million times. I wanted to see if I was loaning this cooler out, how it would perform. Half a kilowatt, not bad. When I tried to use this unit efficiently, I kept it out of the sun, I filled it up with a lot of food and pre-chilled it, and limited the amount of times I opened and closed it. I got it all the way down to 250 watt hours a day. Now that's incredible. That's 4 days off 1,000 watt hour power station. So more realistically, I'm gonna expect about 350 watt hours a day. So 1,000 watt power station will run it for 3 days. But if you put a 100 watt solar panel on it, it might run indefinitely. I would assume that it would on 200 watts of solar for sure. A 500 watt power station set up with a solar panel, most likely gonna run you for a week with no problems. This is why the company doesn't share these numbers with you. Everything is a variable. How hot, how humid, how do you use it? All of that stuff matters. So I'm just hoping that these numbers can give you a baseline to be able to size out a system for you. So far this season, I either use the Opez 1000 or the Goal Zero 1000 with a 100-watt solar panel, and I've never come close to running out of battery, keeping my food refrigerated on these camping trips. I'll keep you filled in. Hope this stuff helps. I will see you guys next time.